Okay, welcome to today's very special edition of the This Old Tool 53 channel. This is my house. It's green. And this is the front hose bib or front hose spigot on the front of my house. And it leaks. When you turn the hose on and water flows, it kind of weeps water out of this nut here. And it's annoying. So today I'm going to try to fix it. I've been here a little over 2 years and it seems like today might just be the day to get around to it. So I have an assortment of simple tools. I've got a slotted screwdriver, a large adjustable wrench, medium adjustable wrench, and some like channel lock, water pump pliers. And this is an assortment of gaskets and washers and screws and seats and rubber bits. I got this at the Home Depot and it was like, I don't know, I forget how much it cost. I bought it a while ago. It was probably like 10 or 12 bucks, and there's like 60 pieces in here. There's all kinds of different things. Like I've already used some rubber seats out of this kit to fix a leaking kitchen faucet. So my goal for today is to take this apart and try to figure out what on it is worn. It's probably a little washer, rubber seal or something that is just old and compressed and no longer sealing, and then try to find something that is almost exactly the same thing in this kit and just replace those parts, put it back together, and see if it stops the leak. If that doesn't do it, then I may have to replace the whole spigot, which is quite a bit more work. So I'm really hoping it's just like a rubber seal or something. So without further ado, let's get started. I will mention that I've already shut the water off. That's important because I have to unscrew stuff here, basically open the valve, and if you don't shut your water off, when you open this, water is going to come out, obviously. It's hard to work on when there's water gushing out of this thing. So somewhere in your house, probably your basement, is a water shut off, and it's just like this. It's just you turn a knob until it's all the way closed, and it shuts the water off to the entire house. Now, when I open this up here now, there's still water in all the pipes in the house, and there may even be some residual pressure. So what I'm going to do is we got a little hose thing here, and I'm just going to turn that on and open this and let the water out. Boy, that wasn't much, was it? But I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me see if I can zoom you guys in. But just in that very, very tiny amount of flow, I've got some drips coming out of this thing. So I'll get that out of here. Unscrew this. Oh, that's right. I put that on there pretty tight. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to loosen this nut off, but I don't really want this twisting a whole lot. So what I'm going to do is I've got this larger wrench. You guys hear the hose gurgling? Yeah. So there's a larger hex here that I can put this large wrench on and hold that while I crank on this, because I don't really want to twist the pipe that this is attached to. That's not good for it. So now that I've done that, I can unscrew this contraption. Alright, I suppose I'm going to have to unscrew this thing here on the handle. Now this is pretty stripped. Somebody's already been in here and they used a screwdriver that was not the right size. Let's see. Wish me luck. Oh. Oh. Crap. So this handle this screw's got to come out in order for the handle to come off so I can get this nut off. And I think there's a rubber gasket behind that nut. I think that's where my leak is coming from. So first things first, I got to find a way to get this off of here without damaging things. Ow. Alright. Hold that thought. This has been on here for a long time in the weather. So what I'm going to do is put a little drop of penetrating oil on there and let that sit. And hopefully that will loosen that up a little bit. Camera says my battery's going to die, so I'm going to shut you guys down and change battery. And I'll keep fighting with this until I get that screw off, and I'll bring you guys back. Okay, welcome back. I could not get this to budge. I put pliers on this thing behind it, the shaft. Looks like there were already some tool marks there, so somebody else has already done that. And I really cranked on this screw trying to get it to come off, and it wouldn't budge. So I went and got my map torch, the map gas, the yellow can, and I just heated everything up for a few seconds just to get it nice and hot and just try to cause some differential heating so things would loosen up, move around, and expand. And then I put the pliers back on the shaft behind it, and I was able to break this loose, but this screw here is pretty much wrecked. And I think it's still hot. It's ruined. So I will have to check the kit here to see if there are any. I see some brass screws in there that are about the same size, so maybe I can reuse one of those. Let's see, is that still hot? Yeah, that's still hot. Alright, give me a minute. Well, there comes a point in every project where you've whacked your thumbs with a tool. Usually a pair of these. And you've sworn so many times that swear words kind of just lose their meaning. I've reached that point. I cannot, for the life of me, get this apart. And you know what? I'm sure that this thing is older than I am, and it's bent, it leaks, it's poorly attached, and I've just decided that I'm going to replace the whole contraption. So this video is changed a little bit. Instead of fixing a leaking, it's going to be replacing entirely. At this point, I do not have the replacement hose bib, and this is a frost-proof bib, so this has got a long stem that goes all the way through into the basement, and that's where the water is shut off, and that allows this to drain any water and keep the water inside the house, because I live in upstate New York with cold winters, and you don't want your spigots to freeze and crack as ice forms and the water expands. So I need to go to the hardware store and get a new one of these. I will bring you guys back once I have the parts that I need, and then we're gonna go into the basement. Okay guys, welcome back. This is the new frost-proof Silcock, or hose bib, whatever you want to call it. I believe Silcock is the correct name, or anti-siphon wall hydrant. I bought this at the Home Depot. It was like 36 bucks for the 12-inch version, and I knew I needed the 12 because I went down into the basement and I looked to see where this comes through the sill plate, and I just measured the length of it, and it was like 10 inches, but I needed, to account for the siding and the 1.5 inches for the sill plate. So add that up and you get about 12 inches. So I bought a 12-inch one. What I did not show you guys was me using my torch to undo the solder on this end. So the pipe the spot that I'm working in is not convenient for filming. It just isn't. I've got one ceiling tile removed, and I've got about, a gap about 8 inches wide square to work in, so I can't work and film. So If you don't know how to sweat or break the seal of a soldered joint, there's a lot of really good YouTube videos out there already on how to do that. So I suggest you do a little bit of Googling or watch some more YouTube videos on how to sweat pipe. So I just took my torch and I heated, this is still hot, this literally just came out of the wall. So I just took the torch and I heated the end where the joint slipped over the water supply pipe until I could see that the solder liquefied. And then I was able to very carefully with some gloves push this out of the house through the wall to the exterior. I did unscrew the 2 screws that hold it into the sill plate, and that allowed me to reach up there with gloves and just shove it out, breaking that seal. So the pipe, the water supply pipe, is still in there and it's still in great shape. I can solder. I have done that. I've done that at work before. I'm not a plumber by any stretch, but I understand how it works. I can do it. But I chose to purchase a Sharkbite fitting for this repair simply because of the tight quarters that I'm working in. And these are really easy to use. I hemmed and hawed because these are like $7, whereas simply getting a threaded copper pipe thing that would screw onto the end of the new silcock and would allow me to sweat it onto the existing water supply pipe is like $2. So it's, you save $5 doing it that way. But again, I've got such a small space to work in. That's where Sharkbite really shines because it's easy. All I'm going to do is I'm going to put some Teflon tape on the threaded end of the silcock or hose bib, and then I'm going to screw the Sharkbite fitting end onto it. And then this is the magical end of the Sharkbite fitting, and this is simply I'm going to slide it through the hole in the wall on the exterior of the house, and then I'll run down into the basement and simply grab this and slide it over the open end of the water supply pipe, push it on there really good, and then I will be able to rotate this on the outside to the proper orientation, screw it in, and I'm done. I'm literally done at that point. I don't have to worry about the torch in the basement with cardboard ceiling tiles and the floor and my cats, which are of course underfoot because they're interested in what I'm doing. I don't have to worry about setting it down and having them sniff at it or something and burn themselves. Just Sharkbite for the win this time. So I'm just going to put some Teflon tape on these threads, and this is something I learned from an older guy that's done a hell of a lot more plumbing than I ever did, and probably ever will do. But he said when you put Teflon tape on the end of something, you want to wrap the tape in the same direction that you tighten the fitting on. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start the tape here, just kind of hold it there, and I'm going to wrap it this way. So as I thread the new fitting onto the end, I'm threading it in the same direction that the tape was applied. So if I wrapped the tape this way, when I go to screw this on, the threads on the inside of the female fitting can actually grab that tape and unwrap it, and it'll get all bunched up. And sometimes it doesn't happen and it's totally fine. Sometimes it does happen and then you have to rewrap it with tape. So you always want to wrap your male threads in a righty-tighty fashion. So I'm going to get this hand tight here, and I'll get my wrenches. And just snug that up. Okay. Now that that's on there nice and snug, This is ready to be threaded through the wall, or inserted through the wall on the exterior. And I wrapped this little green, it's like a little piece of, I don't know if it's aluminum or something, but it was behind the, it was on this thing, the old one, and it kind of covers the hole. Ooh. So I'm gonna take this and I'm gonna put it Okay, let's try it now. Oh, look at that. So I'm just gonna put that back on there, so when I put this through the hole in the wall, this little plate will actually cover the hole a little bit better. And it's painted the same green that the house is painted. The siding underneath this is not painted the same color, so it would stand out pretty obviously. And so now I can retape these threads. These are all, this is kind of a one and done thing, guys. If you have to undo your fittings, you have to redo your tape. Normally I wouldn't be in such a hurry, but I'm the only one home right now and I've got the water off. And I went to the bathroom first, so I know there won't be any demand for water. But as soon as my special lady friend gets home, there's going to be demand. So if I can get this done before she gets home, then that's a win. All right, so I'm going to go outside and stick this through the hole in the wall, and then I'll go downstairs and put this on the end of the pipe. All right, here we go. So that goes through like that, and then I can feel it actually catches that pipe right there, the water supply pipe inside. So I'll just go slide the Sharkbite fitting over the copper pipe, and then I can come back out here, straighten this up, put 2 screws in, turn the water back on, and I'm done. Okay guys, I don't know how well you're going to be able to see this, but here I have the end of the hose bib, or the silcock, whatever you want to call it, and this, I've got my fingertip just inside the Sharkbite fitting, and then here, this is the copper water supply line, and all I'm going to do is line these things up. And this is a two-handed job here. I'm just going to hold the copper supply line with one hand and then pull the silcock rearwards, and that will slip the end of the fitting over the end of the water supply pipe, and it's a pretty secure connection at that point. I'm going to have to put the flashlight down, so I don't know if you'll be able to see any of this. Okay, and there it is. So that is slid on there nicely, and so what I can do now is go back outside and well, let's do this. I'm going to turn the water back on and see if it leaks. Actually, I'm going to go make sure that this is turned off. The spigot is turned off because I don't want water gushing all over the just outside the foundation. So I'll shut the water off outside, or I'll close the hose bib valve, and then I will come in and turn the water for the house back on, and we'll check for leaks. All right, I've got the valve outside turned off or shut, so let's turn the water on. Fingers crossed. Okay, the water's turned back on, and it is dry. So there you have it, folks. Sharkbite for the win. Now, I know a bunch of you people are going to be telling me like, oh, Sharkbite's lazy, I wouldn't trust that. You know, my house has been plumbed with sweated copper joints for longer than you've been alive, and I trust that more than I trust Sharkbite, and I would agree. I would agree. A well sweated joint is fantastic. It's very strong, it's very secure, it's dry, it won't leak, and it's certainly cheaper than a Sharkbite fitting. But if you have a small space to work in, or you're in a hurry, or you're working in a space where you're not comfortable working with a torch or something, or if you're just not comfortable working with a torch, well then Sharkbite is a good alternative. It's a good option. So that's it for the plumbing part of this job. What I got to do now is go put 2 screws in on the tabs that hold that hose bib in place, and then I'm done. So there you go. Yes, this took longer than I planned because I was hoping I would just be rebuilding the little thing or replacing a couple of gaskets, but it's not the case. Let's head back outside. All right, we're back outside, and the neighbor's running his compressor to blow up some pool floats, so sorry for that noise, but can't stop people from having fun, no matter how hard I try. So I've got 2 coated construction screws. They've got like the green, they're just deck screws, exterior, and they just happen to be like the exact same color as my house, so that's really convenient. So I'm just going to drive these through here, and that's just going to help anchor this so when I turn the handle it doesn't spin the pipe. And actually, spinning the pipe is more of an issue with sweated pipe joints as opposed to the Sharkbite ones. So, but anyways, so there you go. So you shut it off, and you've got 12 inches of 1/2 inch diameter pipe that has to drain before the water will stop flowing. Again, we're trying to keep the water shut off inside the house where it's warmer. And with that, guys, all that's left for this project is cleanup. And we all know that's everyone's favorite part of a project. So I will spare you that. But, you know, this project it kind of went the way that a lot of home improvement projects go. You know, you're like, oh, it's just this little thing. I can fix that in a half hour. And then you start it, and actually it's 3 times more work than you thought it was going to be. It's usually 2 trips to the hardware store. And it's always frustrating when things don't go as planned. But the reality is, you can do this stuff. This is easy. Like, you can do this. The hardest part of this job, honestly, was getting the old hose bib disconnected from the copper pipe inside the house. And if you have a little propane torch or a MAP gas torch, you know, put it on low. I had mine on the lowest setting, and it took like 40 seconds to get that solder to release. And then all I had to do was set the torch down, reach up, and push the old one out. And that was it. That was the hardest part. Well, the most technical part, maybe. So this is something you guys can do. You know, if you're thinking, oh geez, I don't know if I should attempt this, go for it. You know, you can do it. So anyways, I know this is a departure from the typical videos that I make, but you know, this is just a project around the house that I thought, you know, 5 or 6 years ago, I wouldn't have trusted myself to do, but having learned some things at work and watched some videos of people who know what they're doing, I felt confident that I could do it, and look at that, it's done. In fact, this is the second one I've replaced. I did the one on the back side of the house last fall. So it's doable, guys. You can do this. And you know what? You get a lot of brownie points too. Keep that in mind. You know, so stuff like this, you can make it sound like it's a big deal. Oh, I gotta replace the whole thing. It's gonna take me 6 hours and 6 drinks. You know, Kool-Aid, root beer, something like that. And you can do it. So, anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time. Take care. And good luck.